Welcome to the Explainer. We spend so much time looking up at the stars, thinking about galaxies and light years. But what if we're looking in the wrong direction? Today, we're diving into a text that flips that idea on its head. It starts with hard science, but then it suggests the real limitless universe, well, it isn't out there, it's in here.
So let's kick things off with a question people have been asking forever, right? How big is the universe? Now, our first instinct is to think about science, telescopes, light years, all that stuff. But what if that's only half the story? What if the real answer has less to do with outer space and, a lot more to do with our own inner state?
And that's exactly where the text we're looking at today goes. It basically says that this whole quest to understand the cosmos, it's really a quest to understand ourselves. The biggest answers, it turns out, aren't found by looking through a telescope, but by looking in the mirror. See, it suggests that all the labels we put on ourselves here on Earth, things like religion, caste, creed, they're kind of like putting on blinders. They stop us from seeing the much, much bigger picture. So the text poses this really powerful question. How do we get rid of those blinders? How can we possibly get back to our original, pure state? Okay, so to even begin to find those answers, the text says we first have to get our heads around the sheer scale of the universe as science sees it. So let's start there. And brace yourselves, because these numbers are pretty wild.
All right, first up, the diameter of the visible universe. Scientists estimate it's about 150 billion light years across. Just try to wrap your head around that for a second. It's a number so huge our brains can't really process it.
And what's packed into that unimaginable space? Get this, at least 2 billion galaxies. Think about that. Each one is its own massive city of stars and planets.
Okay, let's zoom in a bit, just to our own home, the Milky Way. Inside our galaxy alone, there are an estimated 800 billion solar systems, not planets, but entire solar systems. And that's just in our one tiny corner of this whole cosmic picture.
So here's the first big point, right? When you look at it on this scale, our entire planet, everything we think is so important, all of human history, all our wars and loves and dramas, it's literally less than a single grain of sand on a beach that stretches on forever. But hold on. Just when your mind is blown by how big everything is, the source material takes this totally radical turn. It says that this whole mind-bogglingly huge universe that we just talked about is just the first step. In fact, it calls this entire reality powerless, a zero-power zone. Wait, what? So what could possibly be beyond all that?
Well, according to this text, there's a much, much grander structure. It's not just about describing what's out there, it actually lays out a kind of cosmic blueprint, a hierarchy that explains how everything was created.
So here's how it works. It's like a chain of command starting from the very top. At the absolute peak, you have the almighty authority. From that source comes the Supreme Father. The Supreme Father then creates supreme souls, who then create divine souls. And finally, at the very end of that long chain, you have us, human souls.
And this blueprint suggests that our souls have been on an incredibly long journey to get here. It says that before we even got into a human body, each of our souls traveled down through a cycle of 8.4 times million different life forms. Imagine that, just gathering experiences and, karmic baggage along the way.
Okay, and this is where it all clicks into place. The source says that this massive, infinite cosmos we've been talking about, it connects directly back to you. The real journey to find the answers isn't about building a faster spaceship. It's about taking a journey inward.
And the text is super clear about this. It basically says, look, you can't even begin to understand the limitless universe out there until you understand the universe in here. So the biggest question isn't what's out there. The real question is, who am I? And to answer that, you have to understand a crucial difference. Think of your body, your sharir, like a car. It's temporary, it's made of physical stuff, the 5 elements, and you use it to get around and do things, or perform karma. But the Atma, the soul, that's the driver. That's the real eternal you behind the wheel. And it gets even deeper. It's not just a driver in a car, it's more like one of those Russian nesting dolls. Inside our physical body, there are other subtler bodies, an airy body, an etheric body, and so on, each one finer than the last. And right at the very, very center of it all, that's where you find the soul's controlling power.
So if all this incredible power and this whole layered reality is inside every single one of us, why don't we see it? Why can't we feel it? how do we actually tap into that power and see the big limitless picture this text is talking about? Well, the text says it's because right now we're stuck. Our intellect, our consciousness, has gotten completely caught up in the physical world, those 5 elements. It's like we're trapped, and all we can perceive is what our 5 senses tell us is real.
And this is the key to breaking free. It all comes down to the state of our soul. When the soul is pure, or sato-pradhan, our intellect becomes behad, which literally means limitless. And that's when you can see the limitless universe. But when the soul is impure, tamo-pradhan, our intellect stays limited, and we're stuck, trapped by the physical world.
Now, the source gets that it's tough out there. The negative atmosphere in the world definitely plays a part in making the soul impure. But, and this is so important, it says the real work, the path to awakening, is an inside job. It all starts with you by transforming your own mind. That's how you flip the switch and awaken the power of your soul. And this quote just sums it all up perfectly. To understand the Behad universe, the intellect must also be Behad. And remember, Behad means limitless. So if you want to see a limitless reality, you have to develop a limitless intellect. It's that simple. What you can see is only as big as what you are.
And that really leaves us with one last pretty provocative thought, doesn't it? If the key to unlocking the secrets of the cosmos is actually inside our own minds, well, that changes everything. The universe stops being this thing we just look at from a distance. Suddenly, we're active participants. Our inner state shapes what we see. So the question isn't just what is reality? The question is, what reality are you creating?